Zambia is a country in sub-Saharan Africa. Its size is slightly smaller than the state of Texas. It has about 11.5 million people in it. Its beauty can be found in its landscape, in its wildlife, and in its people, in their languages, in their traditions, in their cultures. There are millions that live in crowded cities and many more that live in small villages. And yet there are so many that live out in the bush.
When I went to Zambia in '06 with my husband and my two oldest children, we met a woman named Barbara, and her story just absolutely touched me. She was a woman who had received AIDS from her husband, and up until this point he had passed away already. She was in her hut knowing that the next rainy season may very well wash her home completely away, wondering how she would provide for her 10-year-old son. What if it was you? What if you were that woman sitting there? As I sat on a grass mat in her home, she was praising God that He loved her so much. I had no understanding of how she could think that. But you know what? Someone took the time to give her the gospel of Jesus Christ. We want to be those people that can share the gospel of Jesus Christ with people just like her.
As any third world country, the needs of the Zambian people are great. Yet, they can be categorized into two main categories: physical needs and spiritual needs. Over 1/2 of that 11 million people are under the age of 20. Their life expectancy is only 38 years old, and most of those live on less than $2 a day. AIDS affects over 1/4 of its population, and because of their indigenous beliefs, it continues to spread rampantly. Many will die of dysentery and malnutrition and malaria every day.
Zambia is a place where we can train up nationals who will have the freedom and the liberty to travel to places where we may not be able to go. There are people from neighboring countries who are able to come to Zambia to be trained in the Word of God in a Bible institute such as what we hope to build there in Chapata. They can then take the truth of the gospel back to their native country, back to their people and their villages, where they can then spread the gospel even further than what we can reach.
Although Zambia is a Christian nation by name, the truth is it is steeped in tribal spiritism, Hinduism, the occult, and Islam, which is one of the fastest growing religions. Their greatest need is to be reached with the saving power of Jesus Christ.
Just like in the story of the feeding of the 5,000, Jesus took 5 small barley loaves and 2 fishes and fed a multitude with baskets left over. We want to be just like those small elements. We want to be our 5 kids and my husband and myself on the field of Zambia. What are we among so many? But in the hand of God, we can do anything that He's called us to do. We want to fulfill the Great Commission, the call in our life to serve God on the field of Zambia, Africa.
Our desire is to go to the eastern province where we would evangelize and disciple and plant churches and train men and women in the Word of God, that they would grow and mature as Christians and reach others with the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Dan and Jan Jalowiec. I met Jan as a bus kid when she was a little girl. So many years ago, I can't even remember. Dan came into the church. He was a very young man. They fell in love, they got married. Great church members, always involved. They've served in a multiplicity of ministries. They've proven themselves to be faithful. They've proven themselves to be leaders. They've proven themselves to persevere, and I think they're going to be great missionaries. They've been called to Africa. Several of our families have gone to Africa over the years, have been successful. They'll be joining up with some of those, I'm sure, and as their pastor, I give them an absolute, unreserved, total, complete recommendation. I think there'll be a great family for you and for your church to get behind. Thanks for considering the Jalowiec family for Zambia, Africa.
Our goal is to reach the next generation with the gospel of Christ.